Lions TV, this is the Den Daily, bringing you all the latest gossip, views and transfer news from in and around the Den. The transfer window closes in around 11 days' time, I believe, and yesterday the news was put out there by William Scott, who I believe works for the Southwark News/News at Den, that Japhet Tanganga is wanted by Sheffield United. There you go, it's on the screen, and they're really stepping up the chase for Jaff, apparently. So we're going to look into that in this video. It's going to make very, very interesting viewing because, of course, we travel to face Sheffield United at Bramall Lane this coming Saturday, and the preview for that will be up later today around 7 p.m. along with the score predictions. So let's wind it back. Japhet Tanganga joined the club initially on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. He's 26 years old and he joined under Joe Edwards. Didn't do fantastic, in my opinion, and I've said that on the channel, and I've been shot down for that on the channel. But once Neil Harris come in and he got taken out that right side of a back three and we went to Neil Harris classic 4-4-2, he then really started to play well, and then he went back to Spurs at the end of the season. He was subject to interest by a few clubs at that point, and it's a strange one still. I still can't work the Spurs thing out because he was a Spurs player. Spurs had the option for another year, so they could have taken that knowing that there was interest from us and other clubs. But Spurs never exercised that right. And then from there, he left the club and joined Millwall the same day on a free transfer. I think they've done Jaff a favour. That's all I can put it down to. He was at the club, you know, from a youngster, come through their youth academy, etc., etc. So I'm assuming they've done him a favour, let him join the club for free. And then in that case, I think his wages would have been quite high, probably above usually what we could pay a player per week/per month. So last season he thrived. He was our player of the season. It's clean sweep. Last year winning all three, I think it was, player of the season awards. I feel that's quite harsh on Casper De Noor, but it's not. This is, you know, the video's about something else today. It's about the future of Japhet Tanganga. Okay, so during the summer we was thinking, are we going to lose Jaff? Are we going to lose the big garlic and herb? So far, so good, and we haven't lost either of them. Jaff has signed a contract at Millwall when he joined from Spurs, a 2-year deal. I believe he has one season to run, the rest of this season to run on that contract. I wasn't at the, what's it called, the AGM, the minutes, the fans forum, whatever you call it, and I put some stuff out that I've been told that wasn't particularly correct, shall we say. It makes sense to me, and a lot of people said I was right. Regardless, it wasn't word for word, so I'm not going to quote Steve Gallen again because I wasn't there, but along the lines of Jaff's training very hard, he's happy at the club. However, if a Premier League club come in, Millwall would not stand in his way. And he's been offered a new contract. Okay, that was the gist of it. I'm not quoting anyone directly. I don't want a fucking meltdown again. But he has been offered a new contract. That's been confirmed. He hasn't signed that contract yet. So read into that what you will. I'm not trying to generate a direct hate towards him. He gives his all for the club, and the club, obviously, you know, they won't stand in his way. If a Premier League club comes calling, I don't blame him if that happens. I'm not saying he wants to leave the club. I'm sure every single player in our squad would do that, given the opportunity, you know, realistically, let's be honest here. However, it hasn't happened as of yet. We found out in the summer from Richard Cooley that Jaff has a release clause of £1.2 million. However, this only applies to Premier League clubs. Now, why hasn't a Premier League club come in for him yet? I'll cover it now. I was going to go into it in a minute. Now, again, this is nothing against Japhet Tanganga. I know I'll get shot down for this, but I'm just telling you my honest opinion. Some people value it, some people don't. Regardless of whether you do or you don't, they'll still watch the channel anyway, so it still works. I think Jaff's great for us, okay? He really improved after that start of Joe Edwards. Proven championship player, very good championship player, but in my personal opinion, he would get torn to shreds in the Premier League. And again, that's nothing against Jaff. Very good championship player. Very good for us. But I believe he couldn't make the step up to the championship. He's been there before. He fell away. He got injured. He went to Germany. Never kicked a football. He came back. And now at 26 years old, I personally, in my own personal opinion, think that he wouldn't cut the mustard in the Premier League. That's just an opinion. It's not me shooting the player down. And it's not a fact, okay? So they haven't come in. No one's come in for him in the Prem, and I believe that's why. If he does go to a Prem club, like a Sunderland, like a Leeds or a Burnley, the proof's in the pudding. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I believe that every Championship club that's gone up has come straight back down. So he's back exactly where he started. He's not on a low wage at Millwall, I would assume. So I don't think the wages would go too much different from what he's already on. During the summer, after we learned about this 1.2 million release clause, we thought the writing was on the wall. We thought Jaff was leaving for a very, very little amount. However, some different aspects come into it. I'm talking, of course, about bids from abroad. It was subject to several bids throughout the summer. The first was from Hellas Verona. The Italian side bid around £2.6 million, which was rejected by Millwall. And then following on from that, a month or so later, Sassuolo bid around £3.5 million. Again, it was rejected by the club. I'm hearing the figure that the club would be happy with, and I'm just from things that I've seen online, reliable sources, is around £7 or £8 million apparently. Again, if you want to believe what's online, some you can, some you can't. It is believed that Sheffield United's bid is currently around £5 million. Now, if United were to match Millwall's valuation, again, just my opinion, I believe Jaff would leave the club. A lot of people saying online this morning, why would you go to a smaller club? Historically, let's be honest, they're not a smaller club. They bounce between the Prem and the Championship, similar to Norwich and Leeds do as well. And I think they're expecting to get back there again this season. Of course, they fell short in the playoff final last year against Sunderland in very controversial circumstances, shall we say. Then a second goal disallowed, didn't they, by VAR. And VAR's not usually involved in the Championship because it was a final at Wembley. It was. That second goal got disallowed. Sunderland actually went on to win the game in injury time and get promoted. Chris Wilder was sacked, and now they got Ruben Selles in charge, who was the Reading manager. Quickly made a pit stop at Hull and then moved on to Sheffield United. I watched the game actually where they played Hull and Sellers was the manager of Hull, and they turned him over quite heavily. So maybe that played a part in him getting the job. But Sheffield United, shooting on the preview a little bit, it's going out later tonight, are struggling. They have lost 2 out of 2 league games, and they're also out the Carabao Cup, beaten by Birmingham. They've lost players, including centre-backs, so they're looking to fill that void and they're looking to act quickly. So like I said, it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen on Saturday, because I don't think the deal will get done, in my own opinion, before Saturday. But then will Jaff be in the squad? If he's not, then I think you can assume what's going to happen. However, a contract, let's look at the positives, is on the table for Tanganga. And if he signs it, fantastic. I'd really like him to sign it. Like I said, I think he's a brilliant player for us. But top-end Championship side, in my opinion, again, is his level. I don't think he'll cut it in the Premier League. Like I said, I could be proved wrong over time, depending on how this one pans out. How will this affect us? Well, Alex Neil's come out in the press this week and said that we're still 2 or 3 players short. We know that Alfred Doherty's injured now as well. So we do need to act quickly with the transfer window closing. Tanganga going out the door could add a little bit of extra spice to our funds, although I'm sure we still got quite a lot of Zian Fleming and Romain Esse money. And what I will say about Sheffield United and Millwall in this bid is that fair play to Millwall. We all think we've gone to a new bracket now. We love the way the club's evolving and moving forward, doing everything right on and off the pitch. Praise to the powers that be. And of course, James Berylson and his brilliant father before him, John Berylson. Back in the day, Jaff would have gone here by now. But no, we ain't having this. We've had 2 bids from abroad. Not enough. We've had a bid from Sheffield United, apparently. No, not enough. This is what we want. And if you pass this, you can have our player. If that was to happen, again, I know I'll get dogs abuse for this, but I'll just be honest with you. I don't think it's the end of the world, okay? And this is nothing against Jaff. Again, good player. I'm going to give praise here to Christian Kramer, a centre-back, but has never played centre-back for me. I think maybe 1 game. I really like Kramer. I like what he does. I love the way he's adapted to not only the division, but the positions that he's been asked to play in since he's come to the club. Because as I said, his position is at centre-back. What I like about Jaff is he keeps Cooper in check. You noticed before, if Jaff doesn't play, Coops is a little bit more dangerous, shall we say, at the back. However, Coops hasn't had the best start to the season, and long-term he's going to need replacing as well. I don't think that's going to be alongside Tanganga, realistically, with the amount of, there's no smoke without fire, the amount of rumours, the amount of bids, etc. I think it is only a matter of time. But I honestly don't think it's the end of the world if Jaff leave. If I got given the option of keeping Jaff or keeping Ivanovic, I'd keep Ivanovic. He's a good player, like I said. Great for us, player of the year, brilliant. But I think he's replaceable and football clubs move on. And I think Christian Kramer will fill that void alongside Cooper. And then you'll see Leonard come back in at right back for now. There is obviously questions about Lenny's fitness now, especially with the age he's coming to, and previous to that anyway. You know, he doesn't always get through every game of the season. He gets stuck in every game. He gets a knock in every game. He usually picks himself back up. But I think a centre-back is needed before the transfer window closes. I still think we need a centre-forward and pay good money for another big lump of a centre forward, maybe with a bit of experience before the transfer window closes. And now potentially a right back. Danny Mack is still coming back from that long-term injury. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't think we've really got. We've got Joe Bryan, Zach Sturge, and Doherty, who's now injured at left back. And we've got Danny McNamara, Ryan Leonard as recognised right backs. Lenny is a right back now. He told me that in his interview I did with him at the Den. So we need another right back. I'd like to see us get a right back and a centre back if Jaff goes. But for now, I'm confident that Kramer can fill that void. If an injury was to happen to Kramer or Cooper, then you are facing problems. But if Jaff goes, they definitely won't not replace him. So we wait and see on that one. Sheffield United are interested. They're leading the run and are really stepping up the gas in an attempt to sign their man. Apparently, I'll let you know more as and when it happens. I'm pretty confident it probably will before the transfer window closes. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.